most biggest event in in an athlete's career. So you were to the Paralympic Winter Games this year, so to Torino. They were your first games. What is the first thought that comes to your mind when you think of the games?
I don't know. I mean, for us, it was very much like every other race we do. We, competed a lot of races at that level, and the race itself was really similar in every aspect of it. The biggest differences are the media that goes along with it, kind of the hoopla, as they call it, and just having perfect courses all the time. So when I think of Torino, I just, think of the racing that I did there.
So, did it feel different before you went there? So, all the Paralympic Winter Games, I'm going to the Paralympics. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, the whole year leading up to it, everything, every bit of training we did and every thought you have is to do with the Olympics.
Yeah.
Wow, big deal, right?
Mm.
But yeah, when I got there and actually experienced it, I realized it really is just another race. It really is. It wasn't that different. And I think when I prepare for my next one, I won't put it on such a pedestal because I
Right.
think, psychologically that taxes you a little.
Mhm.
And it would have been better if I was aware of that going into it, that it's really not
Yeah.
the craziest, biggest
So-
event ever.
Okay. You were a passionate snowboarder before, and now you're a passionate sit skier, yeah. Were the Paralympic Winter Games a sudden opportunity that opened up, and who or what encouraged you to get into the Paralympic sport?
Well, like you said, I mean, I was very passionate about snowboarding and
Yeah.
basically all sports prior. I was a very high-level athlete and always competed at the highest level. I was able to compete at whatever I was doing for the moment.
Okay.
So basically, that was the same thing. As soon as I hurt myself, I mean, I had seen sit skiing before. I worked up in the mountains, where I had seen a man who was currently, or was at that time, on the national team skiing around. So I knew it was a really cool sport and one that I'd like to do. So I knew that I probably would have the ability to get to the Paralympics, and so immediately started just pushing myself down that train and started training with the Alberta team the year after my injury, and then moved up to the national team within a couple of years. So pretty much it was all, I wanted to do it from day one, and I was searching out the people that would get me there as opposed to them finding me. So
Nice. Okay. So, about the classification in the Paralympics, what is your classification? And yeah.
Do you want me to explain the whole classification system?
No,
or
just
mine
so
specifically?
yeah, what your disability is and what classification that would be.
Right, but if I just say mine, then you won't be aware of in comparison.
Yeah,
to.
sure,
So
sure.
I'll just for sit skiing, anyways. I'll just cover
Yeah.
the sit skiers.
Yeah.
But there's essentially 4 classes. There's an LW10 or an LW10-2, and they're basically no abs, kind of paralyzed higher up. There's an 11, which is about midway, half of their abs maybe, and then I'm an LW12. And 12 is basically you have most of your abs, maybe a low paralysis. And then the only other classification is 12-2, which is double amputee. So I'm in kind of the second highest category, so we'll have less time taken off than someone who's
Right,
a 10.
yeah.
Okay.
There was a new time measure system, right? Like
Yeah.
with the time system.
It was a little bit different, but it kind of the way our classification system works is it does get reevaluated every year, and the times change ever so slightly. The thing that made it different is usually like in our World Cup circuit, they only give out like all the sit skiers say are in the same category,
Yeah.
and then they just take off different